Hey, boys and girls, what is going on? Lee Sanders back with you all for a all new Monday edition of the RCWR show for this June 8th, 2026. We are just minutes removed from an all new WWE Raw. As gave you guys a heads up from last week that Raw was going to be coming on at a special start time yet again of 4 p.m. Eastern here in the United States. And of course, if you're on the West Coast, actually, correction, 2 p.m. on the East Coast, 11 a.m. on the West Coast. And I got to tell you, I love it. No issues whatsoever. It's funny because I was talking to the wifey about it earlier today. She gave me a buzz on her lunch break and everything, and we were talking, and she was like, "Oh, you got to do another post show so early?" I said, "Yeah, remember Raw back to back weeks? They're out there in the UK for the next little bit." "Oh, yeah, 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 yeah." And she was like, "That's got to be good for you, right? Because you're able to go to bed at a decent hour." I said, "Yeah, yeah. I wish we could have this more often. I know some people may not like it because unfortunately it's a situation where you're not able, because you might be at work, you might be at school, you might not have that flexibility like myself and others where, hey, I do have a little bit of time. I can actually check this out and I can do a post show afterwards and all that. Now, if you're a little melancholy overall, that's some good news for you. Programming note, next Monday's June 15th edition of Raw, that's going to be coming on at a special start time of 7 p.m. Eastern. Again, 7 p.m. Eastern. And they apparently are going to be out in Baltimore, Maryland. So, kind of coming back over here to the DMV area and all of that. So, no, before you even ask, I'm not going to be going to that event, not at the way the ticket prices are right now for these WWE events. Is just not affordable right now. Instead, I'm looking into some other stuff, like maybe checking out a Mystics game, maybe going to check out the Washington Nationals. That's what I'm kind of looking into right about now. Hope you guys had a fantastic week. You picked a great time to tune into the show. Definitely going to be getting into a lot of fun stuff. Of course, we had the continuation of the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments. First impressions from what I saw with tonight's Raw, I gotta say, I love the fact that so many fresh young faces were getting opportunities. I think without a shadow of doubt, in regards to this week's Raw's men's King of the Ring tournament semifinals, there to see a huge upset. I mean, you just figure Seth Rollins was surely gonna be advancing, but then also, if you took a step back and really thought about it, is the vision really gonna go off into the sunset here, or are we still just getting started? Right? Still things just kind of heating up here. So Ruca having a title defense against Lyra, Valkyria, talk about that. We also saw a classic matchup between Penta as he defended his Intercontinental Championship against WWE Hall of Famer 619 Rey Mysterio. Oba Femi was in the house as well with some words about his advancement in the King of the Ring tournament. And not to also mention Brock Lesnar. We're going to talk about all of that good stuff. We also got a little bit of fun headline news to dive into as well. You know how we've been doing it here. I appreciate you spending your Monday afternoon with me. If you're checking me out live for this next little bit, shout out to those of you that's going to be checking this out for on demand and especially on the downloads, wherever you get your podcast. If you want to let me know what you thought about this week's WWE Raw from Paris, interact a couple of ways. Live for the next little bit. You can just, if you want, pop in a comment. I will definitely show you some love, read it on air. You can also vote on our interactive poll right now. YouTube.com/the RCWR show. When you land there, click on the post section and you can vote that way. Seriously, though, on nights like this, particularly, I love the fact that we got Raw so early in the afternoon because it's going to free me up to be able to watch game 3 of the NBA Finals. And look, it's as close to the East Coast. And look, I got love for New York anyway. I always visit New York every single chance that I get. I don't go back there enough. I am definitely rooting for the New York Knicks. I do not. I feel for the New Yorkers right now. Like, seriously, I really, really do. So shout out to my people in New York. I know that so many watch parties, get-togethers, all of it has been interrupted because our president decided he would take up James Dolan, the New York Knicks owner, on the invitation to come to game 3. You know that man is going to get booed. Like, just whether you're a Democrat, Republican, Independent, just we can all be in agreement. That is going to be a polarizing dude is going to get booed the fuck out of the arena. Okay. He is going to get booed out of the arena. And look, whether or not I think he should be there or not, if you're a little bit curious, my 2 cents on that from a distance, this may sound a little bit too politically correct for some people, too safe what I'm about to say, but like, truth be told, this is a grown ass man. He's gonna do what he wants to do when he's gonna do it. Now, my personal opinion here, right? Not that that wasn't a personal opinion, but I will say this: I don't see enough people kind of connecting these dots. So let me see if I got this straight. My man says that he couldn't go to his son's wedding a couple of weeks ago because he had this thing called a war thing that was going on with Iraq. Okay, all right, but yet you can go to a basketball game. Like, I've always been a firm believer, and longtime listeners, you know me by heart. I always like to say, if you're gonna be consistent with one thing over here, I need that same passion. I need that same energy. I need that same consistency over here. Don't just cherry pick and choose. Be that way all throughout. So, but I feel for my people in New York. So special shout out to you guys because since we've been doing this show and we've done it for many, many years now, the New York market has always been nice to the show. When I go back and I see the analytics of where everybody's accessing the show from in regards to the webcast or the audio podcast version, New York has always been like in the top 10 markets. And so I got friends and a little bit of family in the New York area. So yeah, I'm hurting. I'm feeling the hurt for them right now, man. Like, seriously. So let's talk about tonight's WWE Raw and everything. And shout out to the Paris crowd for what was a polarizing edition of Monday Night Raw because the fans that were there in attendance made it feel so cool, man. There was a special aura, a special vibe. You just couldn't help. And I always look forward to when WWE does these overseas tours. I've said it many times over the years. When it's all said and done, you know, London or Mexico or insert, like, they rarely get WWE coming to them. So to be able to kick back as a American and see how these international fans are taking in the product, what particularly has them to the moon and back over in regards to certain superstars, right? What storylines are maybe working for the international fans? What are the fans still a little bit ice cold on and all that? It's always nice seeing how that international fan is looking at things that maybe we aren't really considering and or we're taking for granted, right? But their energy tonight, the crowd, their energy tonight for this Raw in Paris, infectious. I really really loved it. Really carried me. And like just like that, blink of an eye, the show basically over and everything. Great crowd. Shout out to the people there in London, Paris, Paris, London. You guys did a good job. Show kicked off with Oba Femi. What better way to really get the crowd in attendance going, pumping, get that adrenaline going? And, okay, here's the first joint that you can pretty much sing along to. You can physically do your little gyrations or whatever too. And the Oba Femi strut and all of that. Nice pop for Oba. Oba keeping it short and sweet, basically saying, look, you saw what he had did last week in regards to the King of the Ring. He is looking to take a crown because he has suffered long of enough drought. And if he's going to call himself the ruler, well, the ruler definitely needs a crown, doesn't he? So he is delivering, in words of Paul Heyman, not a fact, but a spoiler, that he's going to be collecting a crown, and that in the year of trophies, that's one of many he hopes that he will be conquering. He also puts the rest of those that's involved in this King of the Ring tournament on notice that despite whatever valiant efforts they may make in advancing, yeah, it's going to be good when they eventually cross paths with him and everything. But beyond that, their luck pretty much is going to run the hell out once they come across him. So he pretty much was keeping it honest, keeping it on the 100. Like, you got no chance in hell against me. But, hey, good luck. Now, for those of you that's like, yeah, but what about Brock? Well, he did bring up Brock Lesnar. He basically said, okay, Brock, dude, still ain't forgot about you, man. You and me, we're still tied up 1-1. And just the way you disappeared in like such an underhanded way. You talking about how you was gonna unleash all this, fury and rage and put me in my place and everything. And all you basically did when we met up last was blindside me, pretty much attack me from behind and all that, right? You couldn't even face me head on like a man. And here we are 3 weeks later. You call yourself a big bad beast. All I see is a big bad bitch. You can't stay away forever. Like, eventually you're gonna have to come back and we're gonna have to settle the score. So remember what I had said, if not last week, definitely 2 weeks ago here on the show. I said something along the lines of, and I believe it was as early as our I believe it was as early as our not WWE Backlash, but what was the next PLE that WWE did right after that? Whatever that, if you bear with me a second, I can actually go into the back end and I can tell you real quick because I want to make sure I don't get this wrong. Clash in Italy is what I'm thinking. I believe I said it as early as there that, okay, so what happens here is Oba potentially going to be put in the King of the Ring. And, if so, how do you make sense out of that? I kind of had issues with that whole thing. And then definitely on the Clash in Italy post show, and for sure that respected Monday's RCWR show. I said, okay, so we got Oba in this, but like, is he really gonna advance to the finals, or is Brock Lesnar gonna screw him when most fans least expect it? Because this kind of seems to be the MO as of late. Is Brock Lesnar just now attacking not any old body, but he's specifically attacking Oba from behind and everything? Can we count on Brock to pretty much operate like this again? Or are these two men going to be separated just long enough to where no, the next time we're going to see these men lock up, it will be going down, say SummerSlam? Because you would just think that the tiebreaker, the match to end the tiebreaker, you would think it's going to be at SummerSlam. And if not, then what are we doing here exactly, right? Because that's definitely a sure money grab. So I like the fact that Oba is continuing to keep the Brock Lesnar name out there and everything. Also, before we could even really marinate and think any further about the whole Brock Lesnar Oba third matchup, Dominik Mysterio crashing the scene there. Boy, did that dude get booed the hell out of the arena, did he not, folks? Oh my God. I was loving it. This was that nice nuclear heat that Dominik Mysterio used to get back on US soil on a regular basis. It's died down drastically, has it not? And I think a large part of that has to do with just the way creative has kind of been operating with him and definitely with Liv Morgan. Yeah, it's definitely been the case where these guys are just not really doing anything, unfortunately. Like the foot was on the pedal, and now it's just eased off big time. And we're not even cruising anymore. We're just we're kind of moving, we're moving at a snail pace, right? You're just going through the motions, right? But I love the reaction that Dom Mysterio got when he crashed the scene there. And Dominic basically telling Oba, yo, you talking about Brock Lesnar. You need to be thinking about me because you and me got our semifinals match next week. Yes, you heard me right. Semifinals match next Monday on Raw between Oba and Dom Mysterio. Oh my God. I can tell you this right now. I can tell you this right now because I'm out here in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., and we consider D.C., Maryland, Virginia to be all part of the same ecosystem. We call it the DMV. I can promise you this right now, especially you newer fans out there. Baltimore is gonna love them some Oba Femi because Baltimore is not called Chocolate City for no reason. Baltimore predominantly, all blacks live in Baltimore, even in the nice neighborhoods, right? I know Baltimore gets a bad rep, and every time something bad goes down, and it's in a black neighborhood or it involves black people, and the portrayal of lower income neighborhoods, and but there's actually a lot of good black people that's doing it right, that live in really nice neighborhoods, multiracial neighborhoods, even just real nice black neighborhoods, with nice black people and all that. But I can promise you that when Oba comes to Baltimore next week, that crowd is gonna go fucking nuts. I promise you that, my babies. It is going to be polarizing. It might be a otherwise quiet crowd, but I promise you, when it comes to Oba next week, I don't know. I don't know, Baltimore. Y'all gotta. I don't know if y'all will be able to match that energy like Perez did tonight, but Baltimore just may come close. And then let's not also forget Baltimore, Baltimore fans, the DMV fans in general. There's that nice, deep, rich history that goes all the way back because, after all, Vince McMahon Sr. Capital Championship Wrestling, and ultimately before it went on and became Worldwide Wrestling Federation, the McMahon family, they started everything out here in the DMV and all that. So there's always that nice, uh, rich appreciation for the wrestling history and all that. So I'm looking forward to seeing, and I promise you, Dom's going to get quite the reaction as well out here. I promise you that's going to happen as well. But yeah, Dom coming out there doing his little trash talking and everything. JD McDonough tried attacking Oba from behind with a steel chair to the back. Oba no sold the hell out of that bad boy. I never laughed so hard in my life. And then JD tried to do it again, this time after Oba turned around. JD tried to take that steel chair right to the face of Oba, and Oba just right on cue, wham, punched that steel chair that basically ricocheted into JD's face, pretty much knocked him out. Dom Mysterio He tried attacking from behind, managed to connect with a 619. Uh, but like I believe Dom tried to go for a top rope maneuver, but Oba was able to pretty much counter that. He wasn't looking quite for the fall from grace slam, whatever move is that he calls. He wasn't quite doing that. It was more like a toss that he did to Dom Mysterio. He tried following up on that, but JD managed to pull him out of the ring. So I like the way all of that was set up. Quite honestly, you had a really good setup of a tension, tease, buildup of anticipation at the same time for their one-on-one match next week, right? And almost kind of setting the tone right here too, that like, hey, there's going to be definitely some shenanigans going on in this one-on-one match, which we were conditioned to some weeks back, because remember, Judgment Day basically was like, look, it don't matter who wins the king and queen of the ring tournament as long as it's one of us. So we need to all do our part to make sure that person goes over, right? So it's safe to say there's definitely going to be a nice little numbers game at play coming up in that one-on-one match next week. But what I'm mainly going to be looking at next week is if Brock Lesnar is going to be making some type of an appearance, and he's ultimately going to cost Oba the win in advancing further into the King of the Ring tournament. That's what I'm really going to have in the back of my head as I'm watching Raw from Baltimore next week, and you guys should as well. If Brock ends up being there next week, holy crap, because Baltimore loves Brock Lesnar. I've talked to so many fans over the years locally out here, and like Brock Lesnar is somebody that just, a lot of people click with and all that. And some of you guys may be like, well, what about the stuff, with the allegations and all that? They're like, yo, and everybody's innocent till proven guilty, and until he's brought forth in a court of law, like all that shit hearsay, right? It's kind of interesting because it's like that's with Brock, but then when you bring up Vince McMahon, it's like who didn't know that was a freaky mother. It's kind of one of those. Wait, what? Like, okay, but I digress on that one. Elsewhere, Seth Rollins was chatting it up with Jackie Redmond ahead of the main event match for the night, the King of the Ring tournament here between himself, Ricky Saints, Talla Tonga, and Javon Evans. And the promo, I think the promo was very revealing what Seth Rollins had said there to Jackie Redmond. That, if you really kind of stop and you play it back in your head now after watching the show, you go, WWE planted the seeds, because Rollins said to Jackie Redmond, hey, the vision, now that I did what I did, my match against Braun Breaker and all that, I can now put that behind me. Yeah, I was the leader of the vision, but now this whole thing with the vision, that is in the past. We're talking about the King of the Ring, which is the present. I'm looking to take back a championship that I never lost and an ultimate date with Roman Reigns, right? Because remember, the respective winners for the King and Queen of the Ring tournament, they're going to be getting championship championship match opportunities for the World Heavyweight title of their choosing at SummerSlam, right? So they get to pick whichever championship they want to go for. So, the seeds were pretty much planted right there. And I mean, look, I would not be kind of that surprised if, a lot of people kind of looked at what was happening there with the vision and just all those injuries. Of course, the latest injury that happened there with Logan Paul, right? He's got a tricep tear, so he's going to be out for several months and everything. Speedy recovery to him. Of course, it's a great time to sit back and go, wow, like, is this really it for the vision? Like, damn, like maybe we should just kind of pump the brakes on this and maybe kind of do a little bit of a reset here with them. But let's not also forget, as all of this stuff is going on with the vision, Austin Theory, Braun Breaker, they're still holding on to the tag titles. Let's not also forget that, right? And I bring all this up for a very good reason because we definitely got to go into that main event match. We got to go into that main event match for tonight's Raw. Don't worry, I didn't forget about all the other stuff that had happened on tonight's Raw. We're just kind of going with the flow. What just feels natural to talk about and everything. Javon Evans, Seth Rollins, Talla Tonga, Ricky Saints. I mean, the way I kind of looked at this match, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I looked at this match and I said, okay, so we've got one true old school veteran here in Seth Rollins that is pretty much setting the tone, right? He's pretty much setting the table, setting everyone up in place here, right? And push comes to shove, people need a little bit of direction. Rollins is that guy. If I'm going to look at somebody else and go, you can kind of defer to this person too if push comes to shove out of the four. I'm also looking at Ricky Saints, right? But for all intents and purposes, I'm going, this is the Seth Rollins show right here. I couldn't help but have a big old smile on my face because I'm just going, wow, here's this main event match where Rollins is surrounded by fresh faces here. And I'm really supposed to believe that Seth Rollins is going to advance out of this? Like, no, surely there's going to be some type of interference from Braun Breaker. Ain't no way in hell Braun Breaker is going to just ride off into the sunset after getting his ass handed to him last week in the middle of the ring. No, no, no. Braun Breaker going to come back for some revenge here. Yeah, and sure enough, I love the sequence. I love the way everything had played itself out there towards the end. By the way, Talla Tonga, I would love, I don't know if it's happened yet. I'm very, very curious, but I wonder if guys like The Undertaker or Kane, for that matter, Kane Glenn Jacobs, or even Mark Henry, because I know he's a WWE ambassador now or whatever. I wonder if they have been talking to Talla Tonga within recent weeks because I look at him and I see so much potential. I really, really do. It just, when I was watching him prior, I know I saw, some of his stuff from New Japan and everything, but like, I don't know. It just, the size and everything always was there. I always found all of that to be attracting, but I just personally found myself going, you know what? There's so much potential that still remains untapped. And I just kind of feel like if you got him in a room each week where he can just pick off the brains of an Undertaker, of a Kane Glenn Jacobs, of a Mark Henry, that like what we're seeing of him right now in the ring, like he can even take it to that next level as a big man and everything. But I love the work rate that I saw of him in this fatal four way tonight. Um, I definitely am a sucker for, okay, it's all about the numbers game as far as ganging up on the big guy here, the big bully. I love that story that they told in this. I also love how the action spilled over to the outside, where at one point, Talla Tonga was trying to do a choke slam on Seth Rollins. Seth somehow, I'm trying to think, I believe Javon Evans maybe did a flying move outside and kind of caught Tala a little bit or something. Something weird had happened in a good way, weird. But I remember Seth Rollins ended up doing not one but two curb stomps on Tonga outside. It was a nice way to basically build up this dude and like, hey, look at the stamina. Like, look at all this shit that Rollins has to do to take this guy down, right? Like, you got to do a lot. Like, you got to bring your lunch and your dinner when you're fighting this dude. I like the way all of that was set up and everything. Rollins went in back into the ring after connecting with that final curb stomp onto Talla Tonga. And from there, I'm trying to think. Was it Ricky Saints who was in there? Let me actually go into my notes. Let me go into my notes right now because I definitely would be able to tell you because I remember seeing who won and all that other stuff. But let me go into my show notes here because that's why I have them. That way I don't, no reason for me to be struggling and all that other good stuff. Yeah, so Tala got stomped out. That's what happened. It was Ricky Saints. I was remembering right. Saints and Rollins were going at it. Saints managed to block the curb stomp. And then not the second, though. Rollins connected with the second curb stomp. Rollins tried going in for the pin, and then one and the two, and we see the referee get dragged out of the ring. Turns out that was by Austin Theory. uh Rollins is looking on pissed, like, what the hell is going on here. Montez Ford comes from out of nowhere. By the way, Dawkins is still out. We hear that his progress, actually, the question was asked in the backstage segment way before this main event match because Ford and Rollins were talking, and Rollins asked how Dawkins was doing, but they got interrupted by the Usos and Jacob Fatu. More on that in just a hot little bit. But Ford ended up coming out, beating the crap out of Austin Theory, pretty much beating him all around the ring and all that. And then from there, Braun Breaker just appeared out of nowhere, waiting in the corner for Rollins to turn around, speared the hell out of him. Mission accomplished. He rolls out of the ring. Ricky Saints can't believe what he sees. He's starting to crawl over, but the OG himself, the young OG, Javon Evans, he interrupts it and just boom, OG cutter from out of nowhere. And young Javon Evans advances. I love the way this was set up. I mean, when it was all said and done, you know, like, you're looking at Rollins. Let's be honest. Again, you look at Rollins in this position with these other young talents, and I mean, he served his role perfectly there and everything. But if we are all about building up talent, if we're all about truly building the future in WWE superstars and all that. I mean, this match itself, like, you really could have gone either way. But as far as, well, who's got of these guys here, who really has the best momentum right now, right? Who really has the fans in the palm of their hand? And it's definitely Javon Evans. So it was the smart choice to go with Javon. I see a very bright career ahead of this young man, very bright future. This was definitely a solid match, but I particularly, what I think a lot of people are going to miss out on, what they're not really going to talk about enough, is just the work rate of Talla Tonga in this one. He definitely was a sleeper hit, underrated guy of a gem in this matchup and everything. So Javon Evans, he advances in this semifinal joint. I was talking about the Usos crossing paths with Seth Rollins before this main event match had went down and everything. And they were there as well as Jacob Fatu. And the Usos basically had said to Seth Rollins, yo, we heard what you had said last week and all of that stuff. We heard what you had said, a little while ago and all that. You need to keep our family's name about your mouth, right? And Rollins told them, yo, like, I respect your family and understand something, so it's not mistaken. I got no issue with you guys. I got no issue with your family. I would never talk ill about your family. This is all about Roman Reigns. That's what this is all about. My issue is with him, not with none of y'all. As a matter of fact, I jotted down an exact quote here from Seth Rollins. He says, "I'm not mad at you boys. I'm disappointed. Truth is, I thought you were better than this. I thought you were better than just running business for Roman Reigns. I thought this was Big Jim, main event Jey Uso. That's what I thought this was. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is the best as it gets for you, being bag boys for Roman." So at that point, Jey Uso decided he wanted to have Jacob Fatu, sick Jacob Fatu on Seth Rollins and everything. And Jacob gets right up in the face of Seth Rollins, smacks his teeth or sucks on his teeth, and then rolls away. Usos couldn't believe what the hell happened. Rollins looks on and scoffs and says, "Family, huh?" And he walks away. So Usos catch up with Jacob later on, and they're like, "Yo, what the hell?" Particularly, it was Jey Uso who's like, "What the hell is wrong with you? We gave you an order. We told you to do something. You didn't do it. What the hell?" Jacob reminding them, "Yo, I acknowledged Roman Reigns as my tribal chief. I ain't do no type of an acknowledgement to you or you. So the only one that's gonna have me doing anything is my tribal chief, Roman Reigns." So basically, he was like, "You can miss me with all that," and he pretty much bounced. But if anything, he had a parting choice of words for them, saying, "If you need to be worried about anything, you need to be worried about LA Knight and how he was running his mouth last week, and how he's probably continuing to run his mouth right now, bad mouthing our family and all that, putting us down, and y'all didn't even checkmate his ass. What the hell is up with that?" And he pretty much called called the Usos asses. Like, that's ass. How they operated, and stormed off. But very valid points that Jacob Fatu made. You can't help but look at the Jacob Fatu situation here. You can't help look at this and go, is Jacob truly like, so he's being that reluctant look. Roman is the only guy that can boss me around because he's my tribal chief, right? But like, is there more that meets the eye here? I know some of you guys were like, is this dude being a double agent? Like, is it even remotely possible this dude could be doing something with Solo behind the scenes? I don't think so. With Solo, no, I don't think so. I believe ultimately we may be kind of led to that impression, but I don't see it being a case where Fatu is ultimately working behind the scenes with Solo. And even if he was, I think Jacob is at a point where I think there could be a higher power at play that maybe could be helping Fatu behind the scenes eventually, right? And I'm not so quick to go Paul Heyman. I know some people would love to see the combination maybe of a Fatu with a Paul Heyman, but let me ask you this. Let me present this to you. What about a William Regal with a Jacob Fatu? Remember, for the longest time, we didn't see William Regal on television because the way they, him and Tony Khan pretty much mapped out his exit and all that. And that has since been resolved for like, I think that's been resolved for like 2 years now and all that, right? But like, wouldn't that be something if, maybe like a William Regal, or maybe behind the scenes, kind of pulling the strings here, leading Jacob along and everything. Because at least for me, until it's proven otherwise, Jacob Fatu, the character lacks that cunningness. It lacks that. strategic sophistication of, okay, look, we need to always be playing this a couple of moves ahead. That way nobody is going to see this coming, and then wham, we're going to be able to overtake them, right? As we've seen so far, Jacob has just pretty much led head on, headstrong, and the results have been kind of mixed, right? So ultimately, if not a William Regal, there's just somebody. There needs to be some type of a higher power that's pretty much kind of like behind the scenes, and there's that ultimate big reveal and everything. I still feel in my heart of hearts, though, to answer the question, that Jacob Fatu, he is going to take in what he needs to take in, learn what he needs to learn, and then when the timing is right, he is going to strike. But I can't help but feel as though maybe we are watching Jacob Fatu go inside here with the bloodline and pretty much dismantle it from within. That's how I kind of feel like, right? It's interesting because when I look at the whole bloodline situation, I think about one of my favorite U2 albums of all time, How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb. And then they ultimately, I think it came out 2 years ago, they ultimately released a B-side joint to that on Record Store Day, How to Reassemble an Atomic Bomb. So like when I look at the bloodline, it's like we're dismantling, now we're reassembling. Right now, I'm kind of looking at Jacob Fatu and his role, and I'm kind of like, yeah, this dude's about to make shit just explode from within. Like time's gonna tell if I'm on to something there. But my thoughts on that one. Also during the show. Hey, by the way, how you guys doing? If you all been enjoying yourself so far, if you haven't already, make sure you heart this. If you're watching via YouTube, definitely hit the like. You haven't subscribed, do subscribe so you don't miss out on more great content we do for you and everything. Appreciate everybody that's been hitting up the YouTube channel the past couple of weeks. We got a new foodie review that's up as well. You guys have been having a lot of fun at my expense. So I reviewed the new Oreo firecracker pop cookies. If you've never heard that before and you want to get an idea how they look after you get done here, go check it out. It's on the YouTube channel. Check under the shorts section. You'll be able to see it that way. Loads more action to get into from tonight's WWE Raw. Also got some headline news, so make sure you stick around. Let's keep rocking and rolling. We had our Queen of the Ring tournament match, Chelsea Green, returning Chelsea Green. I always get a smile on my face when I see Chelsea Green in action against Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, and Becky Lynch. Loved how everything finished out here with this matchup as Liv Morgan picked up the victory and on her 32nd birthday today. So a happy birthday there to Liv Morgan and everything. This played out exactly how I thought it was going to play out. Some people may look at this and go, well, there's not really much of a story right here as far as the match goes. And I would say you are absolutely right within reason here. Because when you really stop and think about it, these four women, like, really no history. No, it's just pretty much each girl for themselves and everything, right? Whereas when you look at what was going on there, and isn't that interesting when you go back and you think about this for a second? Think about this for a second. Becky Lynch, Alexa Bliss, Chelsea Green, Liv Morgan. Now, I'm just saying, night and day, this matchup compared to the match that we just talked about. Do you see the difference? If besides the gender, do you really see the difference? Right? At least with the Seth Rollins joint, you're like, yo, there's a bunch of guys in this one. Even Talla Tonga, they could have a really well, the other names definitely bright careers, bright WWE careers ahead of them. And then with the performance that Talla Tonga had, you're like, yo, definitely some really solid potential here. There's definitely something in this dude. Like WWE needs to stay the course with him and all that. But when we come to this women's match, it's just, oh, okay, it's our usual favorites, but really no proper build up, not even a little 30-second spot from Alexa here about this match or a little 30-second spot here. It's just a match that's just basically here. Nothing to really sink your teeth into, unfortunately. Um I mean, you're thinking story wise. Well, we know Liv Morgan decided she wants to go for all the gold that is in WWE, and that's why she essentially has entered the tournament. Becky Lynch, since her loss to Soul Ruca for the Women's Intercontinental Championship, Becky Lynch has just like all of a sudden done a 180, and it's almost like Soul Ruca just does not exist whatsoever. Alexa Bliss was able to just, you know, okay, I'm all about this right now. Sorry, Charlotte. Chelsea Green, eh, very, what's the right word that I'm looking, fragmented. That's the word I want. Very fragmented. What was happening here in this matchup? I mean, sure, you're looking at this, you see the names that's involved, you're going, okay, we got a decent amount of talent in this one, right? I mean, the talent is definitely there, but if you're hoping for a little bit more beyond that, there really wasn't anything in this. So this played out exactly how I thought it was going to play out. Remember, I said last week or the week before that, look, it's unfortunate that WWE is acting right now like there are no other women in the world that can be facing Liv Morgan and chasing her for the championship right now. And that, we don't know what to do with her. Well, we'll just stick her in this little tournament here and all that. And yeah, that'll do the trick, right? It's unfortunate that's how WWE is rolling with her, but do I like the idea of Liv Morgan potentially winning Queen of the Ring and then deciding whether or not she wants to go for Rhea Ripley and her championship? Great history there between Rhea and Liv, by the way. I mean, yeah, that would be pretty damn awesome, right? Now, I can't help but wonder. I can't help but wonder. Until we hear WWE specify otherwise, is the NXT Women's Championship at play? Because if the NXT Women's Championship is at play, one, that's like something nobody would see coming. Two, how badass would that be to turn on NXT where Lola Vice is the current NXT Women's Champion and Liv just ends up dropping that poor girl on her ass? Tag, see you at SummerSlam, SummerSlam weekend or whatever. Like that would be, but you know, I don't think that's gonna happen. Right? It's safe to say that's not gonna happen, right? It's probably safe to say that's not gonna happen. Shout out though to Roxanne Perez. We saw her later on in the show, and she was having a little bit of a powwow with Liv Morgan, and basically saying, you know what, last week, I kind of got in my own head there, and I just want to say I'm sorry about that and everything. You brought up a very valid point, which is, yo, it is about Judgment Day, right? It is about all of us and everything, and we all need to come together, look out for each other. And yeah, you're right. As long as one of us wins this tournament, like that's all that really matters. Which, honestly, hey, how cool would it be if you have faced Raquel Rodriguez and Liv cuts her off as Dominik Mysterio had came in? This was right after the promo exchange and everything went, ass backwards for him in the Oba Femi segment and all that. He was asking Liv if she saw what all had happened, and Liv was like, "Yeah, I did. I'm so sorry. How you feeling? Hey, don't worry about it. I got a plan. Let's go ahead. Let's all talk." And Liv asked if Roxy was gonna come along, and she was like, "Yeah, I'll be there in a minute." And so they all left, and she just kind of had this mischievous smile on her face. What is she cooking up here? And I think we know exactly what she's cooking up here. But the real question is, did she overplay her hand? But the seed was planted for us viewers at home. Hey, what if Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan, which is something that I had been talking about like right before going into WrestleMania. I was talking about that Royal Rumble season. Even going into the Royal Rumble, I said, yo, what if they have Raquel Rodriguez win that damn thing, or somehow even afterwards she finds her way to win some type of a tournament to go on, and yo, wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something if Raquel had to face Liv for the championship? Interesting. Interesting what we got going on here with the latest development here. Where do we want to go next? Only a couple of other things we got to talk about. I haven't forgotten about Rey Mysterio and Penta. I think we'll close out with that one because I got a lot of positive things to say in regards to that. Let's talk about Soul Ruca taking on Lyra Valkyria. Look, not as sloppy as the past couple of weeks that we've seen of Soul Ruca. Shout out to my man Stevie Richards, who pointed out there was like almost about to be a serious accident with Sol Ruca from last week's match and everything. Um, I enjoyed this matchup with Lyra quite a bit. I thought that Soul and Lyra had really good chemistry with one another. Better fluidity in this matchup more than I saw with Ruca and Becky Lynch. Definitely more than I saw with Ruca and Becky Lynch. Um, I would love to see these two down the line again. I'd love to see them match up again. Just I don't want to see it in no triple threat. No, let me see them again in a one-on-one match because these two they really did good. Um, I like the fact that Ruka this week, it seemed as though she was really trying to not think so much. Like you can tell when somebody is thinking while they're moving on their feet, and then it's just, I'm doing the damn thing, right? Like the best analogy that I can compare that to. I know a lot of you guys are drivers out there. Just think back to when you have first started learning how to drive and how jagged, how jerky your driving was initially until you mastered the braking, the accelerating, and the steering. Just think about how jerky all of that was, and now just think about where you are now. It's just secondhand nature. There's a favorite little lyric I like from Stone Temple Pilots. They say breathing is the hardest thing to do. I remember one of the first times I heard that, and then I was actually singing back in the day when the song was like really really popular off that Purple album when it first dropped. I remember playing it in my boombox radio and all that. And my mom was doing some type of cleaning, and she heard me singing Interstate Love Song. That's the name of the song by Stone Temple Pilots. And she heard me singing, breathe in is the hardest thing to do. And then my mom just started busting up laughing. And I'm like, what? She goes, no, it fucking is not. I'm like, what? Breathing is not the hardest thing to do. It just comes fucking natural. Right. So like I say all this, and sometimes when I've looked at Sol Ruca in the ring, it comes off like when she's trying to do these big risk, high reward maneuvers, it comes off as if she's really thinking about it. You know, it really, really comes off like that. It's really, really funny. But for me now, it's a case where Ruca is just very, very smooth. This week, particularly this week, it was just boom. What's next? Boom. What's next? Okay, boom. I mean, she was stringing it together, just the fluidity of it. I was liking it. I mean, she was there, she was alert, she was on point. Maybe it was jitterbugs the past couple of weeks. I don't know what it was. I hope that whatever it was, somebody in the back had pulled her to the side. And yes, to the person in the chat, I'm always reading the chat room. I don't know why you're bringing up the point that you're making up in the chat. I don't see the relevance to what we're talking about right now. But I do see what's being said in the chat. I see where everybody is coming from, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on Twitch, whether it's on, whatever. But I am live and in living color right now for the next little bit. So enjoy yourself. Just to kind of get you and everybody else that maybe are tuning in right now. We are talking about well, yeah, we kind of figured that, buddy, but truth be told, shout out to Thunder Rosa, shout out to Pharaoh. We actually have a decent amount of wrestlers that are actually friends of the show and actually follow yours truly on social media. Definitely also shout out to Marina Tucker. I was going to show her some love later on in the broadcast, but she is going to be part of a all women's wrestling event that's going to be coming up later this month. I'll give you guys the details about that one. But for those of you that are just tuning in, we are almost at the tail end of our WWE Raw coverage. And from there, we're going to go into a little bit of headlines. So just kick back, enjoy yourself like everybody else. DK or DM in the chat. Enjoy yourself like everybody else. Most people don't like bombarding and all that because they know that when I do this show, it's pretty much in real time. And whatever comes to mind, I'm pretty much spitting it out there. But if you say something that's kind of relevant to the topic that's at hand of the show, then, that's how we're going to do it. But I don't do this show basically. Okay. And I'm looking at the chat here. Simon is saying that Billy is saying Suzanne is saying Michael is that's not a show. That's not a show. I repeat, that's not a show. That's if that's what some of you guys are looking for. I hate to disappoint you. That's not how we do it. If I were to break every single time and just it's got to be relevant to what we're talking about. As long as it's relevant to what we're currently talking about, and I can somehow kind of weave it in, which I'm pretty good at doing that, I will definitely show you some love. But meantime, just kick back, relax, enjoy yourself. So we're at the tail end talking about WWE Raw tonight. And one of the things that we are tackling here, Ruca, nothing but yeah, I think I'm done talking about Ruca, right? I don't think there was anything in addition I needed to add to her. She did great this go round. Lyra's really growing on me. I gotta say, I really, really am appreciating the work of Lyra Valkyria. She has really turned it around, even personality wise a little bit. She's really kind of turning it around for the better. um but I need to see more of Lyra. Like I think she's now gotten to that point where not only can you give her more matches, because the matches was never the issue with Lyra, but as far as just more television time as a character, like she's definitely proven that she is coming along quite nicely and all that. So it was nice, by the way, a nice touch. I know Bailey had wrestled on the AAA show from over the weekend. I sadly did not get to see that, guys. I'll circle back and tell you more in a hot little bit. Something family related, nothing too alarming, although I got to say the past 72 hours has been a little bit touch and go. I will tell you guys a lot more about that in just a little bit. But yeah, I didn't get to see Bailey and her appearance on the Triple A show. I will be watching that when I get a free moment later this week, though, and check that out. But we did get a nice little cameo from Bailey. She was trying to hype up Lyra, telling her to, go ahead, go shine in this match here for the Intercontinental Championship. Came up a little bit short, though. Very unfortunate, but yeah, I hope we get to see more of them. LA Knight. Boy, LA Knight gets no goddamn respect. This dude comes out. It was almost a Stone Cold Steve Austin moment. Somebody tosses him a microphone and he misses it. Now, whether that's LA Knight's fault or it's the guy that threw it and the way the guy threw it, I'll leave that up to you. But nothing made me bust up laughing more. You know, you know what? I can't believe I'm about to say this, but if we were to look at LA Knight's run, if we were to somehow summarize LA Knight's run in WWE so far, I think that would make the perfect GIF. Just LA Knight throwing a hand up in the air, reaching for the mic, give me the mic, give me the mic, give me the loot, give me the loot. And he just misses it. Like that is LA Knight's tenure in WWE in a fucking nutshell, right? But no, he misses it and he just looks extremely pissed. And he rips his shades off and he demands a guy named Barkley throw the mic again. That time it was called. The fans were even mad when Barkley or whoever you want to hold accountable, they were mad that LA Knight did not get the mic. But then the next go round, when LA caught it, oh, the fans were eating that shit up, man. Good stuff. Huge pop for LA Knight there and everything. Good stuff. LA Knight talks about Friday's match, talks about how he would usually talk about how he'll go through all of them, face Roman for the championship. He also talks about not being mad at the fans for chanting for Roman because, as far as he's concerned, Roman has pretty much fooled all of them, but feels that Roman's empire is on the verge of crumbling. All it needs is just a little push. And Roman's keeping everybody trapped in the bloodline vortex. He notes that somebody will help Jay on Friday night, as Jimmy and Jay warned him not to talk about the bloodline, but he doesn't take orders from Roman. As far as LA Knight's concerned, he's the chief in this neighborhood, right? In this orbit and everything. Still paranoid is LA Knight, as he's talking about how all the bloodline members are going to come down during his eventual night with Roman. Everyone will come down. Adam Pearce is going to somehow put the stamp on it. Is also taking little shots at at Adam Pearce as well, noting how Pearce interacts with Roman a specific way, in a certain way, while interacting with him. You know, it's like night and day that there's a little bit of favoritism. Just call it for what it is. That's what LA Knight is kind of noticing here and all that. Feels that now he's saying he doesn't feel Adam Pearce is in their back pocket, but there is a big difference in the way that Roman is spoken to and that LA Knight is spoken to. Knight says he may be unchosen, but the fans chose him. He chose himself. He'll do it his way and get the job done. Wishes everyone luck on Friday. At this point, like the first couple of minutes of this promo, it was like really good, right? But then you're kind of like, okay, is something supposed to happen here? Or like what? Like what's really going on here? Because the promo just seemed like it was dragging, like it was going on and on and on and on and on. And the next thing you know, um, Jay Uso comes out. I just couldn't help but wonder, Was Jay supposed to come out a lot sooner? Because it just seemed like this talking segment with LA Knight was just going on nonstop. It felt like he made all his points, and like we were kind of starting to go in a circle again. Was Jay Uso on, like, I don't know, an important phone call? Was Jay Uso like using the bathroom? Like, what was going on with Jay Uso? Very awkward, but his music hit, great pop from the crowd. Fans are yeeting. Eventually, he gets in the ring. He's getting ready to cut his promo, but the fans, they ain't trying to hear Jay talk just yet. They want him to run it back with that theme song yet again. So he cranks it up. LA Knight smoothly allowing it for like about 75 seconds. That's very specific, I know. Don't pay any attention to that. I'm guessing. But cuts it off, right? Gets into it. Wants to know why Jay's out there. Jay says, like, yo, he's always going to answer when the family calls for him. Tells LA Knight he needs to stay in his lane and that he doesn't need luck. He's still the arena shaker and the main event. He'll show LA just who he is on Friday night. And that's a warning shot. Rolls out after that. Music plays again. LA Knight has that music cut off. I mean, twice he cut off my man's music. And the fans in Paris are letting him have it. I ate this shit up big time. He says LA Knight respects the fact that Jay is protective of his family. That's how everyone should be, right? Admirable trait and everything. Wishes Jay luck, but then says, screw your family. Right? So these heel like tendencies, right? Kind of get it. Or you can just say, nah, LA's getting under the skin here of Jay, and like rightfully so and all that, right? Jay takes his shirt off. He's getting ready to come down there and charge at LA Knight, who is just ready for that fight. Jimmy comes out to stop Jay and everything before things could go any further. I thought for sure Jacob Fatu was gonna attack maybe from behind and be like, this is how you fucking get things done. But that did not happen. That development did not happen. So going into this Friday SmackDown, that's going to be a very interesting show. We'll tell you about the King and Queen of the Ring matchups for Friday Night SmackDown in a hot little bit. But I enjoyed that segment for what it was worth, especially the continuation of the whole LA Knight, conspiracy theory. I love what they got going. He has become like the Fox Mulder of the WWE, and I love it. It's funny too because I was watching one of my all-time favorite movies yesterday, which is Predator, with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jesse the Body Ventura, Bill Duke, Carl Weathers. It's great, just all great fucking cast in that movie. And I couldn't help but think about Bill Duke's character, because he was like, remember, he was like one of the first people that like actually saw the Predator, right? And like at first, go back and watch that movie because like people thought he was like crazy because like he already had the reputation for being a little bit out there and all that, right? But like you're hearing him, it's like, well, the other guys, they haven't seen it with their own two eyes, so this guy is just spitting out some crazy ass rhetoric, conspiracy theory, hallucinogenic, But then in the end, it was like it turns out the dude was right because who was, I think it was Carl Weathers, Apollo Creed, for those of you not familiar with the name, but you remember the face from the Rocky franchise. Carl Weathers was the only other one that actually saw what Bill Duke's character was talking about. Everybody else didn't see, they never did see it. Of course, Schwarzenegger did towards the end, right? The fighting Indian, we don't really know if the Indian even saw, right? Because Predator was always in cloak mode, camouflage mode, and all of that. But I'm looking at LA Knight and I'm just going, This dude is just running around with his conspiracy theories. Who is he going to get to invest in that Kool-Aid? Like, I wonder. Speaking of investments and drinking the Kool-Aid and all that, I popped so hard seeing Chad Gable on this edition of Monday Night Raw. Great reaction he got for his SmackDown return, by the way. I did see little clips of that online. I'm glad that WWE followed it up and they had him in the they brought it back. You know, it was so good they brought him back. Like, that's how you're supposed to do it. You got to build off of that, right? That's how you're supposed to do it. They had him going on this like apology tour. You know, he had sought out Penta, and Penta's like, "Yo, man, you now know what the mask is all about. Like, yo, it's water under the bridge. We cool, man, but like, if you really stop and think about it, you gotta go a little bit further back as far as your apology goes. You know, not really to me. You gotta go a little further back than me." And then later on in the night, we see Chad Gable. He crosses paths with Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee, and Dragon Lee's like, "Yo, we are cool, man. It is truly like it's water under the bridge, man. We good." Rey Mysterio's even saying, "Yo, we are good, but like you, truth be told, we're having issues before you even put the mask on. If you stop and think about it, there's some people that further back before the mask you probably need to talk to and try to make things right." And I'm thinking, oh snap! So we're gonna get him talking to Akira Tozawa, Otis, Maxine Dupree, right? Yeah, there was a lot of damage done with them. Let's not also forget, but you know, it's interesting. It's interesting. What's gonna happen with Julius and Brutus Creed? Does he eventually just cross paths with them and say, "Hey, we made it work for as long as we could, guys," but and do they continue the gag? Do they go, "What are you talking about?" Or do they just go, "Chad, you're back," right? Do they? I'm curious what happens with the Creed brothers now. Very curious. But my mind mainly is on Akira, Otis, Maxine, and just exactly how that is going to go. I can particularly see Chad really trying to make things right with Maxine. Wait. No, Maxine was never. No, it was Ivy. Now, forgive me, there, guys. I got my blondes mixed up. That's very terrible. That's very very bad of me. Forgive me for that. But it does bring up an interesting question because now that Akira and Otis were kind of now that they kind of branched off there to Maxine, I'm curious about the interactions there potentially between Chad and Maxine. Is that kind of, are they going to be cool, or is that going to, kind of curious to see how that itself is going to play out there. The Rey Mysterio Penta match, though, I really wish that could have actually been the main event match. But all things considered, you know, the King of the Ring, it is prestige, right? I mean, I think what I'm really looking for is I wish that match could have been, and the order of the matches that we got, it was fine. The order was perfectly fine because after that match, you know, it pretty much was all about the main event. Now that I'm kind of playing it back in my head. So the placement of the match was good, but there was a part of me that just kind of wished like, okay, yeah, we got the King of the Ring tournament, but can we be real for a second? When it came to Saturday night's main event that just went past, the Intercontinental Championship, which, according to the video packages and everything that we had got leading up to that Intercontinental match, hey, this championship is the second single most important championship there is in WWE. So many great individuals have held this championship. Then they've gone on to become a world heavyweight champion, you know, all this other stuff. And yet that did not close out Saturday night's main event. And I just kind of felt like, okay, with all the great people that have held that Intercontinental Championship and all that, like, sure, why not? Why not close out Monday Night Raw with the Intercontinental Championship? Why not go that route? Well, they had their reasons, obviously. But the Penta Rey Mysterio matchup, way too short. I love this match. I like my only criticism for this match, as much as I loved it, it was too short. It was like maybe 8 minutes long, and I thought for sure we were going to be getting like a 17-minute match. Um, Paris ate this up. They did a really great job making this match feel very special. Yeah, to a degree, it is a dream match. It's definitely something I have been wanting to see for a long, long time because I remember the days of Penta and Lucha Underground. And I'm trying to think because I know Rey Mysterio for a quick cup of coffee. He did do some stuff in Lucha Underground, but I can't quite remember if he did something with Penta or not. I actually would have to go on YouTube and try to see what I could find out and everything. But um, great match. This was one of those put the remote control, down, like just enjoy the show. Um, It was a tease. It was a tease of a match. It was good, but it was just too much of a tease, man. I was hoping I would see a lot more, and I kind of questioned WWE's booking a little bit because Penta definitively defended the Intercontinental Championship because in the final moments of this one, uh, Ray blocked the Penta driver, hits the 619, goes up to the top. Penta manages to get his knees up in time, hits the Mexican Destroyer, retains the championship. Now that all sounds good, right? I mean, but wait. Here's my issue with this. Afterwards, Ethan Page and Rusev, they come out and they start beating the crap out of everybody that's in there. And it's like, well, wait a minute. If this was going to happen, how come we couldn't just have them interfere and then that way, this matchup, this dream matchup at that, is teased even more, right? That way fans can be like, oh, what happened? Oh man, look at this. What if like we finally got the match, but we didn't get a decisive victor? And like, okay, well, WWE, you've planted some seeds here now. You can either run this back potentially at SummerSlam, or you can run this at a AAA event between these guys. I was just left kind of scratching my head a little bit here over the fact that we had Ethan Page and Rusev interfere in this. Dragon Lee came in trying to do damage control. Dragon Lee was on the offense for a little bit. Uh, Rusev, Ethan Page, they proved to be just a little bit too much for him. Cue up Chad Gable. Chad Gable came running out there, got a great, huge pop from the crowd. Suplexes to Rusev and Page. Chad ended up putting the ankle lock on Page, who was selling that like a mofo. Rusev ends up dragging Page out of the ring. They pretty much rolled out. They did manage to unmask Rey Mysterio as Penta did his best to protect Ray, while getting beat up and all that right before Chad came out. And it was great seeing Chad pick up that mask afterwards. He's looking at it and everything, and then picks it up, hands it over to the guys, and they all are there embracing and all that. It was nice little scene that we got and everything. Trading acknowledgments for one another. So that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool to see. Now I did not watch SmackDown, so if I have this wrong, you guys got to let me know. But I guess it's safe to assume that Chad Gable is a free agent right now. He's just bouncing between shows. Because I know the clip that was running around on SmackDown, Sammy Page was crying to Nick Aldis about something, and Aldis was like, I can't really talk to you right now. And Sami Zayn wanted to know who's more important to talk to than him. And then boom, we saw Chad Gable. So I'm assuming Chad Gable is a free agent right now, and he hasn't quite made his decision on which show he's going to be signing to just yet. If so, cool. I'm down with Chad Gable continuing to bounce between shows for the next couple of weeks. And the fact that, future matchups there with Ethan Page, Rusev, oh, gimme. Yeah, those are going to be banger fucking classics, man. Like seriously, but I'm glad WWE is pulling the trigger now and basically while the iron in the fire, that iron is still hot. I'm glad that they are capitalizing on Chad Gabe. Of course, I'm alluding to the fact of how overwhelmingly well received that match was that Chad had as Grande versus Ludwig Kaiser's Grande Americano and everything. But that pretty much was Raw. Good show overall, really thanks to that Paris crowd. They put a lot of energy into the show tonight. They made it quite a enjoyable and fun environment. Um, Solid matches. Great seeing the reemergence there of Chad Gable and all that. Let's see what you guys had to say about this week's WWE Raw. Once again, got the polling options up on youtube.com/the RCWR show. And for me, what really sticks out to me the most is for his Raw this week, the major upset in the King of the Ring tournament. The fact that Seth Rollins is now eliminated. Just when he thought that the vision was in his rearview mirror. No, 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 no. I'm thinking about one of my favorite songs from Daryl Hall and John Oates fame, but it's from his solo catalog, "Only a Vision." And one of the lyrics it goes, "Only a vision that I see out the corner of my eye." Yeah, yeah. Mm, 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 mm. Yeah, that vision came back, man. Came back with a vengeance. Looking at some of the early voting, and please, I know that at the time that we're live right now, most of you guys are either still dealing with classes, you're at work, you're maybe kind of getting ready to get off from that last class or work. Early voting is, the voting is really not going to pop up. I know the pattern by now. You guys know the pattern by now, as I shouldn't even have to say it, but I love you guys anyway. I'll say it again. I know the voting is really gonna pop in the next 24 hours because that's just how it always is, especially when we get these early WWE shows. But the way it's looking right now, early voting coming in, 100% of you guys are giving the show a thumbs up. You agree? You disagree? If you don't agree with that, go vote right now. YouTube.com/the RCWR show. When you're over there, you're going to see home video shorts, live podcast playlist posts. I want you to click on posts and then you'll be able to vote that way. So let's continue to rock on some other stuff that we can get into here on the show. Um, you guys got to forgive me earlier too, by the way. So for those of you that maybe have me playing in the background and you're like doing some stuff, those of you that's going to be listening to this audio wise. So let me explain what happened earlier. We had somebody that popped up in the chat and they had claimed that they were a wrestler. And I mean, they basically were having a conversation with themselves. I am seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I'm seeing 20 messages. And they just were like, bam, 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 bam. And they were just posting like you could tell it was spam. So like some of the stuff that they posted, they were like, RCW, um, I'm a wrestler. And then they were like, yo, and then they were like, does he read the chat? And that's why you heard me say, yeah, I do read the chat. And then he was like, I'm not Ray's son. And then he was like, okay. And then like W. And then he was like TNA. it was like the weirdest. Like, I cannot stress it enough. Like, I don't know, maybe it's because I recently shaved and you can't really see the gray in my beard, right now, and all of that. um but like, I like any and everybody that takes time out of their schedule to welcome me and into your homes and all that. I love interacting with you guys, but like, that just screams, please give me attention. And that's a major turn off. Like, the biggest piece of advice that I can give anyone that like comes into the chat rooms, want to be part of the shows live, just come in and just, treat me the way you would want to be treated, right? If you want to be treated with respect, and you're just trying to find yourself to be in a really cool, chill environment, and like, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. But like, coming in and just posting like that, that's gonna get you, unfortunately, muted real quick, unfortunately. And I don't like doing that. But like, when we got people that kind of, and I get it, because not for nothing, but to be devil's advocate, that could have been a young listener, right? That could have been somebody like under the age of that could have been somebody under the age of 16 or whatever. So we maybe have done them a favor by not enabling them to comment anymore and all that. But like, yeah, that's like the biggest piece of advice, that, treat people the way you want to be treated, right? Like, if you were to have your own show, how would you want for your community to be interacting with you and others? What kind of a environment are you trying to create? Like, is it a real cool, laid back, chill environment? Like, everybody can just, or is it just a case where it's like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, you got to figure that out on your own. But I know how we're trying to do it over here. I teased. I did the polling results, right? Yeah, I did the polling results already. So we'll get into some headline news in just a hot little bit. I do want to give you guys just a couple of updates and all that. Really, I would appreciate it right now. No bullshit. I would appreciate it if you guys could keep my family in your thoughts and in your prayers. My mother-in-law, she went in for knee replacement surgery. I mean, they literally took out the old kneecap, and they gave her a brand new one, because just everything that I was learning about her old knee, it was just time. And from what I understand, the new knee cap that they gave her should hold her pretty well for the next 25 to 35 years, give or take, before she needs a replacement. And my mother-in-law, she's in her late 60s. She won't be in her 70s for at least, maybe, I think, maybe 3, maybe 4 more years. So basically, that kind of means, all right, so she'll probably, like, you know, um, cross the rainbow with that new knee. That's the nicest way I can say that, right? Because that's the truth, right? It's like, okay, that's good, right? But there were complications with the surgery. Unfortunately, there was certain medication that she was supposed to stop taking leading up to the surgery, basically to kind of, so that when they opened her up, there wouldn't be really as much blood. And apparently, she did not. She is kind of getting a little bit forgetful at her age and all that, but she basically did not stop taking that particular medication in time. So there was a lot of blood, from what I understood. When they opened up that knee and they were trying to operate, there was just so much blood that it complicated things, and the surgery had extended much longer than anticipated. What normally is supposed to take like 90 minutes to maybe 2 hours, they pretty much were operating on her for damn near 3 hours, from what I was told. So it was like, whoa.
So she lost apparently so much blood. She went in for her surgery Friday. We thought for sure Saturday we were gonna be checking her out, that like she was gonna be discharged. Saturday comes because I'm already prepared. I had washed some clothes out and all that. I was starting to get the wife's car ready to go so I could pick the moms up on Saturday. And Tams calls me early in the morning and she's like, "Hey, I know you like to sleep in on the weekend." She's like, "But this is too important." I'm like, "No, no, no. What's going on?" Like, "Yeah, she lost so much blood that they're not discharging her today." I'm like, "What?" Like, "Yeah, they're not discharging her. She lost too much blood. Her blood pressure is like extremely, extremely low. So, yeah, no discharge." I'm like, "Okay." So, we're thinking, okay, well then, Sunday, surely she'll be discharged. Sunday comes and they were like, "No, we're not discharging her." And at this point, I'm saying to wifey, like, "What the hell?" And they're like, "Look, most hospitals, unfortunately, unless it's the work week, that's when you're gonna definitely get some movement and all of that good stuff. But we're talking about the weekend. They pretty much usually like to keep things right where it is, and anything moving wise, discharge, that's going to definitely happen during the work week. But like usually the weekend, you can forget about it." And I'm like, "Yeah, but you just said that like she was possibly going to be discharged." She's like, "No, no, no." She's like, "I'm with you 100%. Well, because she lost so much blood and the blood pressure, like, so they're keeping her." I'm like, "Okay, all right, cool." So she finally started doing her physical therapy Sunday. Sunday was day one. They had her working on like four steps, and she's getting around with a stroller. She seems to be alert, and one thing that was interesting, compared to Saturday when Tams went to go see her on Sunday, she was like, "This is how much blood she lost. She lost so much blood," did my mother-in-law, "that they had to give her a blood transfusion." Yeah. So when Tam saw her yesterday, she did have more color in her face, entire body. There was more color in her face. So that's good. That's good. Um, but at this point, we made a decision that it's probably a good idea that she does not come home, because as far as physically, that knee is still brand new. She's got a brand new knee now, and she's nowhere near where she needs to be as far as a full recovery. So we made the decision that she's going to need to get physical therapy at a rehab facility. So um, we're not going to be seeing her for at least a week. So she seems to be in good spirits and all that, but it's still a touch and go. Like her blood pressure and all that is still very low. So definitely keep my mother-in-law in your thoughts and prayers. Hope that she gets a speedy recovery. And I don't know, maybe something that we can kind of do for her. Maybe I did it for Tams a couple of years ago. I had did like this digital card thing that everybody could sign for free. Maybe I might do that for her and kind of generate some signatures and all that from people. Maybe that'd be kind of like a nice little thing. Cause I already I'm talking about it with the wife about maybe we can get like some balloons. I'll make a cake, have a nice dinner. And when she comes back, we can say like, have like a welcome home kind of thing for her going on and everything. So that's that. I'm trying to be upbeat, but you know, I don't like hearing about complications. That's just me. That's just me personally. But she's in good spirits. I mean, she's doing good. Uh, she had a really good appetite yesterday. She was eating pizza, ice cream, had a nice, good, full breakfast. So she said the hospital food was pretty good, which is saying something considering most hospital food sucks. So there's that. Also, since last time I was on the air with you guys, I had to say goodbye to my car for the past 5 years. I was telling Mish about this and a couple of other people, but like, yeah, the very first car that I started driving, learning how to drive, and then eventually it just became my car full time. Is a 2003 Honda Accord. um, I was pushing it for like 5 years. It was a used car. When I first got it, it had like about, I would say, 180,000 miles on it. Right now, as we speak, it's sitting at 285,000 miles. Did my best over the years, consistently staying on top of upkeep, upkeep maintenance and all that. And yeah, the final 2 days of my spring semester, I started noticing some stuff, and I'm like, I'll get this checked out. And then, like, I remember the final day of my classes, I was like, whoa, I kind of told you guys about all that already, but like, I finally had a mechanic take a look at my car within the past couple of days, and I got the worst news that a car owner could get. It was so you've got a cracked radiator and like three different spots. Oh, fuck. Okay. What about the gasket? What about the gasket? We'll do a check on the gasket. We'll probably know the results about that the next day. It's like, okay, but yeah, you got a radiator that's cracked in like three different areas, and then one of your fans is not turning on consistently, right? That's how your car cools off and everything. And when you don't have the fan inside working, that's how your car can overheat, and that's when you'll see that little gauge that goes, it says C to H. Yeah, you don't want to see that gauge go all the way to H, because when you see that happen, oh boy, get ready because shit's about to hit the fan. So I thought I was going to get the news about the gasket information the very next day. They actually reached out the same day. Yeah, your gaskets are blown. So if the gasket is blown, the gasket is blown. Like, fuck. So that basically means whole new engine. So I was just giving myself a pity party and all of that. Yeah, you should have seen me. But my family was like, "Look, it served its purpose. Uh, you're now officially ready to like go get your own like, you know, we picked that car for you, but like now you get to go get your own, this is you now." I'm like, yeah, 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 that's true. So they've been really cool with me in the process of, giving me tips on what to be looking for the next car and all of that. I got it down to three. I wouldn't mind hearing what you guys have to say. You can sound off and let me know if you want. But I got it down. I'm thinking about, I'm definitely considering another Honda Accord, because I mean those things are just built like tanks when it comes to the gas, man. I mean, you want a really good, reliable car, great on mileage. You don't really have to, constantly be making trips to the pump for more gas. Like those Accords are really, really good. I'm also looking at the Toyota Camry, and then the other car is I'm considering a Toyota Corolla. Those are the three that I'm looking at right now. I saw some really good ones. I reached out to a couple of owners. There's one that I'm really, really, really interested in, but here's the thing: it's like a couple of states. I would have to drive about 2 hours to get over there. Um, the driver was real cool. Like they showed me all kinds of pictures. I mean, interior, exterior, under. under the damn car. Like, I mean, they showed me any and everything that I wanted, and it was like, wow, they went above and beyond. Really took damn good care of it too. Um, I'm thinking about them. I just don't know if I really want to drive that distance because, like, grand total, like going and coming, that would be that'd be a little over 3 hours. So I'm not really sure if I want to do all that or if I should just stay kind of local in the area and see what I can do as far as a car goes and all that. Now, some of you guys may be wondering, and I don't mind tipping you guys to this so that you guys kind of know the process if you're newbies, but like then the question becomes, well, what happens to the old car? My first time experiencing any of this, so I had to rely on the wife to clue me in. She was like, well, until the new car comes into the picture, you got to continue to hold on to the tags for the current car. Otherwise, you take those tags off, you're going to get a citation, the whole 9 yards. So you got to keep the old car till you get the new car. She's like, but then wait. She's like, you got to keep the old car long enough until you sell it. I'm like, really? She's like, yeah. She's like, only when you sell the car and then somebody's taking it off your hands, then you take your little license plate, all that, like now you're officially off the hook and whatever happens with that seller, that's their responsibility. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I'm ready to post a car online already and see what I can possibly get for it. I'm hoping that with the fact that I had added some new tires within the last couple of months, the catalytic converter was brand new, installed like almost 3 years ago. Um, I'm hoping that that combined with the fact that the radio's not working, gasket blown out that I told you about, the front passenger doors motor was disabled because like it stopped working. So the window's not, and you can't get out of that door because we literally have the we turned the battery off on that side. Just we turned it off completely. So I'm hoping that with all the work that needs to be done, I can. I'll be honest with you guys. I know if I had like fixed all that shit up, I could probably get like an easy 3 grand out of that car. I'm lucky if I'm even going to be able to get 1,500. Like that's where I'm going to start the bidding. I wanted to do 2,000, but my family was like, "Nah, dude, you ain't getting 2,000. You can forget that." I'm like, "Are you sure?" They're like, "Yeah, dude, you ain't getting 2,000. Like, try 1,500. Be prepared for like 1,000 or 900 bucks if you're lucky." And I'm like, "Okay, all right, cool." So I'll keep you guys posted and let you know how all that plays out. By the way, before we get ready to dive into some other little tidbits of news, I appreciate you guys that had went out of your way and you had wished me and the wife a happy anniversary. By the way, when my mother-in-law went in for her knee surgery was the day of our anniversary, and we were talking amongst ourselves. We truly believe in our heart of hearts moms did not know that that was the first date of surgery that was available many weeks back when she made the appointment. She had no clue. So um that unfortunately we weren't able to do anything, because of the surgery. And then, my wife actually had to work. I had some stuff to do. So, it was kind of one of those, you know, I think we're gonna try to make up for it this week, though. So, but I appreciate everybody that went out of their way and was wishing us a happy anniversary and all that. 5 years, so we've been together 15 years, but we had tied the knot 5 years ago, and it was a very What is that sound I'm hearing? I'm hearing a whole lot of weird noise all of a sudden. I don't know what the hell that's about. Okay, my girls are chilling, so I guess it's not in this house. I'm hearing something. When I wear certain headphones, I hear certain things that sound more amplified. But yeah, anyway, um, so yeah, 15 years, but married for the past 5 years now. It's been an amazing ride. I gotta tell you, truly, it's been an amazing ride. If I can give any kind of relationship advice to anybody, I would say communication, 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 always having that open line of communication. Um, it's okay to be uncomfortable, you know, get out of your own head, get out of your own skin, and make sure that you're being very considerate of your significant other. You're taking in their thoughts, their feelings, their considerations and all that. It's not easy. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It's not easy because it involves a lot of being unselfish. And it sounds very easy to do, right? Nah, not so fast. Not so fast. And like, I'm not gonna turn this into the love line or anything, but like, we are still, after all these years later, we are still works in progress. But I keep telling my wife, I say, I think we switched personalities after like the first 7, 8, 9 years or 10 years or something, because now I'm the nice one and she's got my asshole personality from when we first uh started dating. So I'm like, and I told her, I said, I guess 10 years later we'll I guess 10 years later we'll switch back, right? I guess that's what we're doing. We're gonna be switching every 10 years. And she's like, I think so. Like, okay, cool. So food for thought. Hey, I see WWE is apparently eyeing Zilla Fatu after he had a performance center visit. In case you might have missed it, the 26-year-old third generation wrestler, real name Isaiah Fatu. Remember, he's the cousin to Roman Reigns, Jacob Fatu, the Usos, and The Rock. He trained under Booker T and Booker T's promotion after his release from prison, going back to 2022. And Booker T has definitely gone to bat for this guy. And it's like, yo, this man is the absolute future. This is somebody to be watching. Don't be sleeping on this dude. And we've been seeing him on the independents. If you've been paying attention there on the independents, this guy's been winning championships. Hey, Chloe, this guy's been winning championships left and right and everything. Um, he and I will admit, he's definitely got the athleticism. He definitely has it and all that. Even Paul Heyman apparently is like, yo, we need to sign this dude. So don't know if he's officially signed yet, but there is some very, very strong interest in WWE in signing this guy. I'm gonna jump out there and I am gonna say it'll definitely happen a lot sooner rather than later. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe as far as like I wouldn't be surprised as like SummerSlam maybe is when they might try to do something with him. Also, during WWE Raw's broadcast today, it was revealed first on social media, but if you missed it, they did go through the news on Raw, and that is Money in the Bank. It is going to be taking place on October 10th. Now, some of you guys may be like, Lee, I think you got your information wrong, my man, because, well, wait, just pump the brakes because we're talking about New Orleans now. So let's just pull a Tony Braxton and count the waves here, right? So New Orleans originally was announced for WrestleMania 42, as many of you all remember. Then that got pulled from underneath their rug. I mean, that was like, I mean, that literally was like WWE going up to New Orleans and was like, with this ring, I thee wed. Will you do me the honor and will you marry me? And New Orleans was like, oh yes, yes, yes. And then WWE came back like a couple of weeks later. Oh shit, I need that ring back. But yeah, I know, but like next time, next time, next time. And as we remember, WrestleMania 42 went to Vegas. So instead of WrestleMania, New Orleans, they were to get money in the bank as a consolation prize, right? And that money in the bank was supposed to happen on August 29th. So now you've got WWE going, I am so sorry that we got this wrong the first go round. But now more than ever, with this ring, I thee wed, will you do me the honors and we have this go down at Money in the Bank? And like New Orleans was like, oh yes, let's do it. Yes, 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 1,000 times yes. When's the date? August 29th. Yes. And then WWE, or it was like, hey, need that ring back. What? September 6th. Huh? Yeah. September 6th. But September 6th. But if that doesn't get any worse, it got delayed yet again, and now officially it is October 10th. Now, shit can change between now and when tickets are supposed to go on sale, because tickets are supposed to go on sale to the general public on July 10th. By a Ticketmaster. However, there's going to be an exclusive pre-sale that's going to happen a day prior. So just remember July 9th, July 10th, because yeah, I mean, I feel so bad for New Orleans. I really, 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 really do. Now, let's not also forget there was supposed to be a Saturday night's main event as part of that. So that got a little mixed up too. So for the first time in Saturday night's main event history, there's now going to be a Sunday night's main event that will be happening in Atlanta on Sunday, September 6th. And remember the date I just told you, Money in the Bank was supposed to happen on September 6th when it got bumped from the August 29th date. So this is almost like WWE. Hey, look, I might not be able to give you, but I'm gonna give you this instead, to kind of make up for it, right? So very hilarious what's going on here. But the patience of New Orleans, the government officials, the mayor, just everybody involved. I really hope everything works out. I really, really do. And everything remains in concrete here. I really do. Speaking of WWE, remember they're going to be in Baltimore, Maryland next week. So we already know men's semifinal for the King of the Ring. Oba Femi takes on Dominik Mysterio. Io Sky will face Raquel Rodriguez. Roman Reigns is supposed to be returning as well. I know as far as this week's SmackDown for the Queen of the Ring, we've got a fatal four-way between, and this again is going to be on SmackDown. So Ruca versus Lyra Valkyria versus Charlotte Flair versus Jay Cargill. This is the final first round fatal four-way. And then on the men's side for SmackDown, Jey Uso versus LA Knight versus Royce Keys versus Finn Balor. Who do I like for this week's SmackDown coming out as the winners? I like I like Charlotte Flair for advancing there. And for the men's, I like Finn Balor. I like Finn Balor. You really want to get that dude off to the right start, especially with the fresh start and everything that's happening for him on SmackDown. No better way than to run it that way. Also, shout out to former TNA champion Steve Macklin. Apparently, he has been granted his release from TNA. He's I'm not going to say I don't want to speak out of context. I don't want to say he is upset but if the reports are true that he didn't appreciate the fact that TNA Wrestling put out a statement saying that he has been granted his release, and that was actually something that he wanted to relay to his fan base and all of that good stuff. I mean, it is kind of messed up and everything, but apparently he's now a free agent. Honestly, I will admit to you guys, and I remember saying this way back when he decided he was going to re-sign with TNA Wrestling briefly or come to a new arrangement. I'm surprised that he stuck around for as long as he did, because I thought for sure he was going to join his wife, Deanna Purrazzo, in AEW already. The AEW ROH side of things. I thought he was been going to go over there, but it just did not happen for whatever reason. Now, there's reports floating around that he wanted out because he wasn't liking the direction of TNA Wrestling, and despite the fact that they're on AMC, it just pretty much is bullshit business as usual. And I can honestly tell you, when I watched the first 2 weeks of TNA Wrestling, I just kind of felt like, yeah, okay, cool. I really didn't feel like, yeah, this is something that I'm going to be watching and talking about for many, many weeks to come. Like, yeah, no. It's so funny I bring that up too, because I remember the guys over at 411 Mania. They actually had hit me up, and the timing was so fucking bad. These guys actually had hit me up the day before my mother-in-law was supposed to go in for her surgery. And I get, we could use some help. Our guy that normally covers AEW Collision, he's no longer going to be able to do it. And I had to think about that. I'm like, um, and I don't want to be putting their business out there, but the pay is so damn low for writing up reviews live in progress for these shows that they do. And I had already talked with the family about it, and they were like, dude, you could be making so much more money doing any and everything else but working for those guys. And like, it was a blessing in disguise when AEW Rampage got canceled and everything by Warner Brothers Discovery. It was actually a blessing in disguise, and really freed me up big time. And I told them politely, I said, hey, appreciate the interest there, but no. And I was very candid with them. I said, look, I said, my mother-in-law is, getting ready to have some surgery, and not to mention, you know, uh, a lot has changed since you last even interacted with me. Like, I now have an associate's degree in media production. I'm now pursuing my bachelor's in journalism. I'm deeper within my journalism major right now, and now more than ever, and rightfully so, I'm being particularly picky about the writing assignments I want to tackle. And my pay, what I expect to get, that's changed too. My asking price, that's changed. You thought I would have gotten at least a totally understandable, well, hey, look, thoughts to your mother-in-law, really hope for successful surgery, so sorry you're juggling with, all that you're juggling, but like, hey, no. You know what I got? just a fucking thumbs up emoji. And that just made me go, oh yeah, on that note, I definitely don't want to ever hear from you motherfuckers again. Because if y'all gonna be rolling like that, like, I'm not saying we gotta be going out getting a drink and a bite to eat, but I mean when somebody, that definitely wasn't a Johnny come lately, somebody that had contributed for your site for 4 years, um, is telling you, yo, got this stuff going on. And, the least thing you can do just to stay face, even if you are, faking it, least thing you can do is, man, totally understand, well, hey, all the best. And hope the surgery goes okay. It's like, yeah, know your worth, people. That's my message to you guys. Know your worth and make sure that you don't settle. You only around this earth once. Get the most out of it. That's what I always try to strive for, and everything. I know everybody's like Nick Khan lied. I'm not even going to get into that. What would you expect from Nick Khan? For those of you that don't know what the hell I'm talking about, Nick Khan had lied about the WrestleMania main event plans, never changed. He apparently was speaking with the Sports Business Journal last week and claimed that WWE didn't change plans leading to WrestleMania 40. Meanwhile, Cody Rhodes, as you remember, he handed his WrestleMania spot to The Rock, and after there was so much fan backlash, he was somehow inserted into the main event scene again. We've got Nick Khan basically saying like it's crazy because like although Khan said that this was always supposed to be the plan, I mean the guy is being caught in a straight up lie because we've already heard from Dwayne the Rock Johnson. Cody Rhodes has jumped out there, and then you've got that fucking unscripted series WWE Unreal, and so it's like I, I'm not even. I don't even need to speak for 10 minutes about any of that verbiage. It's just garbage. It's just straight up garbage, and neither should you guys be investing all that time and energy into. We know what's going on here. This is now the hey, we're gonna make sure that anything that is said about us negatively, we can spin this in the most positive way that's humanly possible and let it be business as usual, right? Like they're just trying to protect their bottom dollar. That's how I'm essentially looking at this. Speaking of lying, Nick Khan and all that. WWE merger trial that has been canceled. Shout out to Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics. He had noted that the merger trial has been canceled. There was no confirmation of whether a settlement was reached or if it's even in the works. Remember, I was told you I was going to stay on top of this for you guys. That's the very latest that's going on, though. It looks like the trial was taken off the calendar as it was scheduled to start today, as a matter of fact, June 8th. So it's supposed to be a 4-day joint. Speaking of trials, that reminds me, first time ever in my life, I got jury duty coming up. I got jury duty next week. I hope I don't get selected. And if I do get selected, I hope I'm going to be in and out of that bad boy. Meanwhile, we're talking about Steve Macklin earlier. Shout out to the Butcher and the Blade from AEW. They are now free agents after their AEW contracts expired. So that'd be a great little pickup there, whether for New Japan or I hope that maybe WWE may even consider bringing in the veteran tag team for a look there. That would be kind of cool. Also, Hulk Hogan's death investigation has officially closed. Cops found no evidence of criminal wrongdoing. The 11-month investigation into the death of Terry Bollea, aka Hulk Hogan, has closed. Cops revealed this past Friday that he passed due to natural causes and there was no evidence of criminal wrongdoing. I know the daughter, Brooke Hogan, she was very, very suspect on the circumstances surrounding her father's death, but now this has officially put a ribbon on that. Now, I think just if anything, yeah, okay, natural causes, but still, it's a case of like, was the hospital though at fault? I know they still kind of have that litigation, if I'm not mistaken, that's still ongoing and everything. So there's that. And then other than that piece of news, it's been relatively quiet. Nothing else on the forefront. Shout out to Idris Elba, who's now Sir Idris Elba. He got knighted there. That's pretty badass. I'm excited for the NBA Finals tonight, man. We got Game 3. It's been an absolute joy seeing the inside the NBA crew with Ernie, Shaq, Kenny, and Chuck doing their thing during the NBA Finals. I fucking love it. I love it, man. Don't get I can't get enough of it. All my years, I never thought I would see the inside the NBA crew during the NBA Finals, calling, pre-show, halftime show, and a post show. I never thought we would see that, right? But it's really cool. The collaboration has been beautiful, and I love that it's been business as usual, true to Disney's credit. They like, no, we're not going to be touching this at all. We're not going to be trying to put our fingerprints. Just let it continue to do its thing like it been doing. It's just gonna be having a new home. And to their credit, they worked out having more of the inside IP incorporated on ESPN/ABC, and I think nothing but more good is going to be coming from out of this relationship for many years to come. As far as the game itself, I think it's going to be a close one. I think it's going to be a close one. I'm going to go with the Knicks, though. I think Knicks are going to get game 3. I mean, nothing is so damn good that then when you're in your home, you're back home, you get to sleep in your own bed. You're used to your workout routines and all that other stuff, right? And you're going to be able to adjust, adapt quickly as a result of that. The Spurs, and we know the history there when it comes to the NBA Finals and all that. Like when a team is down 0-2, like you can pretty much forget that. You're looking at your next winners there as far as the NBA Finals go. Like very, very few teams, just a handful of teams have been able to make a comeback from an 0-2 deficit to go on and win the NBA Finals. So, uh, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't really know about that, but I'm gonna go with the Knicks. I don't want to give out a score. I don't want to give out a score because I'm not going to do all that, but I'm definitely going to say Knicks for game 3. Now, as far as do I think they're going to be able to sweep? Will they get that gentleman's sweep on the Spurs? No, that's a surprising thing. That's a surprising thing. I see them winning game 3 tonight, and I think game 4 is what, on Wednesday? I think Spurs will win game 4. And then we go back to San Antonio. I think Knicks are going to end up winning the series on the road. So they're going to win it in San Antonio. I think it's going to be Knicks in. I think it's going to be Knicks in game 5. Yeah. So that goes 1, 2, right? And tonight's game 3. Knicks win. Yeah, game 4. Yeah. I think it's going to be Knicks in game 5, y'all. Hey, before we get ready to dip out, I definitely want to give a shout out to friends of the show, because without them, definitely sponsors of the show too, because without them, content like what you're checking out right now would not be made possible. Hey, shout out to my good friends over at the video game Whisper UTC. If you love you some fun tabletop games that's tactical, has some combat in there as well, you definitely are going to love Whisper UTC. Make sure you check that game out by visiting drivethrurpg.com. That's drivethrurpg.com. Whisper UTC, it is character focused, gives you the freedom as far as customization goes. You could do so much as far as building your crew, diving in. You get to play from 46 unique classes. Go grab your copy today of Whisper UTC at drivethrurpg.com. Shout out to friends of the show. Shout out to my man Julian Cannon of Digiday and the Nocturnal. I recently saw him share a picture that he took as he had an opportunity to chat it up with the beautiful, the talented, the lovely Patina Miller. That name should sound familiar to you guys. She's Rock on the Hit Stars series, uh, Raising Canaan, Power Raising Canaan. They're going to be back for their final season beginning this Friday, June 12th. I can't wait to watch it, although I got to tell you, Stars did a hell of a poor job with some of the trailers that they've put out there. That's not just on social media, but it's also showing on TV. Boy, they put some bad spoilers out. Like, if you haven't seen, you don't know what I'm talking about. Soon as you start to see and recognize, oh, this is a Canaan spot, change the channel, mute it, go do something else, because they're going to give some major spoilers. And I just remember looking and going, what the fuck? Um, but I know he usually does his reviews for all the Power shows. So, and then we officially got the green light. I think it was, whoa, the hell is that? Okay, my dogs are barking for some unknown reason. Let's see what's going on here. It's like somebody at the door that I don't know about. No, nobody's at the door. Okay. That's why I leave this door shut. I tried to be nice so they can keep me company, because they've been kind of whimpering a little bit today. They haven't been liking when I've been shutting the door, doing some work and all that. They've been wanting to keep me company. False alarm. Anyway, what was I saying before? Yeah, you see last week, Joseph Sikora and Michael Rainey, they've confirmed that Power Legacy is, I guess, in production now. And I think that's not supposed to premiere until next year. So looking forward to seeing that series. Shout out to friends of the show as well in Mish and Joe of Wrestling Soup. Make sure you give those boys a follow as well. Check out my man Digging the Greats on YouTube. He's got a new video that's out. I don't want to spoil it, but it's a very unique way of consuming his content, because you're not just watching the video, you're also using a tablet or a phone to have a really great dual screen experience. It's really cool. I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but if you haven't checked them out in a while, you definitely want to piggy on back and do that. As far as your next edition of the RCWR show, here's what I'm thinking. Uh, Before all the complications went down with the moms, we were supposed to do a wrestling with the topics, but then afterwards we just said, we just weren't in the zone. You guys can understand. The way things are looking right now, we are definitely saying, yo, let's see if we can do something this coming weekend. So you can definitely pencil that down on your calendars. We'll be doing a wrestling with the topics this weekend for you guys. And then, of course, Monday, June 15th, I have court day, jury duty. I got jury duty that day. So I am hoping that if I end up being selected, for jury duty that I'm going to be home way before, because remember, Raw is coming on at a special start time of 7 p.m. next Monday. So I'm hoping that I'll be in from jury duty. And if so, then I'm going to be live with you guys as soon as Raw goes off the air. So I'm estimating that's probably likely going to be 9:30 p.m., give or take, if not maybe sooner, right? Meantime, be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads wherever you get your podcasts. Just search the RCWR show. Once again, make sure you show the YouTube channel some love, youtube.com/the RCWR show. We got episodes available for you guys wherever you get your podcasts. Just search the RCWR show and you can use those same keywords to get at me all throughout social media. Until next go round, my pretty babies, wishing all y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. Take care.